Hello everybody, VengeanceFast114 here. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about life and ranting again. The other video seemed to do okay, and it was kind of a popular, funny thing, and it's a good way for me to vent and get things off my chest to help me feel better about life. We'll kind of start off the same way as we did with the last rant video. I don't know, I might just call Listen the, name of the series, and this will be Listen 2 or whatever, I'm not sure. We'll figure that out at a later date. Oh, wait, hold on, we're not gamer enough yet. Fuck yeah. So the first thing that I'm going to bring up is, one, recently I've undertaken, I wouldn't say like a fixation on Nerf guns, but I have a lot of old Nerf guns and I decided I wanted to fix them. You can see over my one shoulder here, that's not a Nerf gun, but it's the toy foam blaster dart shout thingy. And there's some tape on it that I want to take off and then get the residue off, and then I'm gonna sell it or give it to some charity or whatever. I do have a bunch of Nerf guns, but they're outside my door. It's not in the frame. I got a $60 blaster rack so that I can have all my attachments hung up and my guns stored on the rack. I'm probably gonna sell the duplicates. I don't need two of the same recon or whatever. But I want to get all the attachments for them all and then sell them intact and clean off any marker, because I did draw on them with the marker as a kid, and I want to get off any tape or whatever. I bought a brand new Rampage, and it turns out that I was given another Rampage, so I actually can just sell that brand new Rampage for a price. I also bought a bunch of Nerf darts and Centurion darts, or Mega darts, but I only have the Centurion. I set up a little range for me to figure them out and shoot them and stuff, so that's fun. I might do some more modifications with it or whatever later. Some of the old ones I had to scrape a lot of battery acid out of, and now there's just a bunch of dead batteries in this bag. These ones are just burnt out, but the AAAs, so I'm waiting for that delivery to get here in a week before I can replace those AAAs. I need to buy a bunch of mags. I think I need to buy 2 stocks and 2 barrels and 4 sights, and that's it. So it's really the most expensive thing is going to be buying 1,000 mags. Because I would like a backup mag for everything. And the only backup mag that I have is for the Centurion right now. What else? I'm going to be getting my permit finally. I had my permit for 3 years, and I'm going to get my permit back, so that means that I can drive when there's another person present in the car. Which will be great already, but also I'm going to the DMV Thursday, Friday, and then Saturday, Sunday closed. Monday, most of them are closed. Tuesday, I can go to a nearby place. Wednesday, I can go to a nearby place. And that's going to be my 4 tests. And I either fail all 4 and have to wait a year, or I pass one of them and I'm done. March 1st, I get my tax return. I'm going to get a paycheck on March 3rd-ish. I don't know if there's a weekend or a holiday there, so, a little bit after that fact. And that'll put 1,000 in my checking. I have a trip to Baltimore, Maryland, the 9th, and it'll run through to the 12th. So that is a weekend that I will not be present or uploading. That will probably take a little bit of that money out of my paycheck, but I don't plan on taking any of my tax return money. I want that money to buy a car. I've been looking at a couple of Cobalts. It's what a lot of douchebags drive, and I want to drive it like a douchebag, but also because of that, there's a lot of parts around, because people will toast the front end, but the transmission's fine, or etc. Or those manuals out there, people probably fry the fucking clutch out of it and then give it away. So there's a lot of parts around. Moral of the story. I want to fix the Mustang that we have on the property. I want to fix my Buick, but it's looking better. It would just be better off if it was $500 in scrap. The Ford, I have an F-150 out here. It's pretty rad. It needs the frame welded because it's rusted out a bit, and it also needs a new power steering pump, I believe. And then that's a perfectly running fine truck. He bought it for 11 grand. It should be a $15,000 truck still. And then I have some other cars on the property that I'm either fixing, scrapping, or giving to the responsible owner, because we have a lot of cars on our property that aren't owned by us, and they've been here for years and years and years, and there's no verbal or written contracts, so we either need to establish that or get rid of it. Um, when it comes to my house, everything is still technically intact. My roof is starting to fall apart. My foundation's never been totally intact. Um, like this house won't like crumble below me, but like there's some things that need to be fixed. And once I'm done with the car situation, I want to fix my barn, my shed, my granary, and my house. And then I want to start putting shit on the property that'll be fun, like a racetrack or a shooting range. There will be a little detour towards the summer where all me and all my friends are gonna pitch in money and materials and supplies and stuff and build a little airsoft course so that we can have some fun with airsoft guns. And I also need to spend a paycheck getting my airsoft mags because they're $50 a fucking mag, which is just plain ridiculous. Um, that's my plans for like the year. I also want to try to hit the gym before the year's up, and I want to try to start doing meal planning and dietary stuff before the year's up. Um, I should have a couple people moving in that'll help me pay bills and help me get a bigger profit margin so that I can continue to improve the life of myself and everyone else here. Um, I have a computer business, 1331 Computer Tech and Repair. Um, I need more clients for that. I'll build computers, I'll do consulting, I will fix stuff. It's perfectly fine. I also co-own Brown's Classics and Restoration, which is a dealership and garage. So I'm looking to buy and sell used cars or redistribute or fix or restore, etc. I'm in for all of it, just trying to make my money. Me and my father also have a lot of contracting experience. We don't work under any official business, but I would do roofs and floors and walls and electronics and electric work, all the whole shebang. I also used to have a skateboard and bike shop called Rad Rats Customs. Probably gonna be bringing that back once I get my new skateboard and bike, because I need one of my own. Um, but we still have old tools and old supplies from so long ago, so that would be cool to have. Um, I also want to get into firearms a little bit. I already have a couple of guns, but I'm not 21, so I can't own a handgun. When I turn 21, I want to buy a P229, P226, or P223. I really don't care if it's a compact or a subcompact or if it's a full size or anything like that. I just want a hammer fired SIG. So I don't want a P320 or an M18 or anything like that. I want a hammer fired. This is not because I don't like strikers or anything. I think they're cool, but I just think that I just want a gun with a hammer. End of story. It would be cool if I had a 1911, but everyone and their mom has a 1911, so if I really wanted to shoot one, I can borrow one or whatever. And I really want a revolver. There's a handful of people that have revolvers, but I want one that's my own because I really love revolvers. I want to get a shotgun, but I don't want any normal old pump action shotgun. I want like a mag-fed shotgun or a semi-auto shotgun. Um, just because I want to have something different that I can bring to the range or whatever to have fun with. If I do get another rifle, I will buy an RFB or an RFD, depending on what caliber I want it in, because those seem pretty cool and they're pretty cheap compared to like wanting to buy an ACR or something, ARX or whatever. I also wanted to buy a Scorpion Evo A3 carbine, which is like the gun that Ellie uses in Rainbow Six Siege. That's strictly for fun value and to kind of have like an SMG type of weapon. But given rifle laws and stuff, I will have to have a barrel over 16 inches. But, all that stuff. I want to get some spare mags for my AR-15 because I only have 2 and I would like 4. And I might be buying a new Ruger 1022 stock because this one seems like it's falling apart. Other than that, I think that's everything to do with guns. I figured out my cards, got my license situation figured out. Bills are pretty figured out. I'm planning on switching jobs because my job at McDonald's is a hellhole. My brother is currently offering me a security position where I would work 12-hour shifts, 5 to 5, or like 5 a.m. to 5 p.m. or 5 p.m. to 5 a.m. The schedule doesn't really matter. I'm up all hours of the day, and the idea is you have to check people in and like do your security portion, but mostly because there's no real reason for anyone to sneak into a gas drilling location. I'm more or less just checking in and keeping track of what workers or inventory type trucks enter and exit. What this means is, uh, as my brother does, whether it's public admission or not, his manager has told him he can do literally anything as long as he doesn't fall asleep on the job and continues to check in trucks. So my brother will sit there, he'll watch videos, play video games, etc. And if I could have 12 hours a day where, even if theoretically 6 of them, I am doing work and I'm checking in trucks, that is still 6 hours for me to play video games and get caught up on stuff and like talk to people and do business work that I haven't been able to do before. I can even make videos like this sitting in my fucking shack. Um, so I plan to do that soon. Um, what else? I want to get more into fashion. I'm not crazy with my fashion sense. I'm not fun or cool. I have a couple of suits, and that's really as cool as I get. But, and I don't mean like crazy into fashion or anything. I'm not trying to get like Dior or fucking Coach. I just want outfits that match. Then I look and I look at like a decent human being. Um, I want to learn guitar. I have a guitar over here. I know how to play it very slightly, and I know how to play like certain chords and like a little bit of a certain song or two, but I want to be able to learn more about it. So that's another goal for the year or two. That's about it. I've thought about doing artistry or some secondhand schooling or anything like that, but I don't think that's in my wheelhouse. And if I do any secondhand schooling, I'll go to a racing school because I think I'm pretty adept at driving, and racing has always been an important part of my life, so I'd probably do that. So, for a start, we'll go right into the deep end of McDonald's. I'll go ahead and just read off letter for letter some certain chats and stuff. So like if we go over here to my Discord server, I have it on my phone, even though like my computer's right here. It'd just be easier to read that way. I have a server that I'm in, and it has a channel called McDonald's BS. So if it has to have a server for it, it must suck. All right. So something's broken. They're down foreclosures. I have to apologize for this little bit of, you know, middle of the road shit, but I'm just trying to scroll and find the part that I want to talk about. Let's see. All right, so here's the start. I have a manager. For the sake of anonymity, we will call them. Uh, let's see. Let's find a good name. So let's call her Beth. Bethany, right? Um, so she says, uh, franchise owner and wife have decided to take away my manager position because I'm leaving. She is leaving. She's going to a different job because she couldn't handle the stress of the job. And that's not her fault. I don't think that there is a normal human being who can handle the stress of working at my McDonald's. Um, but they have decided to take away her manager position, which unlawfully would demote her without her knowledge, technically. Like, she only learned of this after it was in progress, and that would also reduce her pay by like $4 an hour, and that is a lot of money. If we break out the calculator for a second, and we do $4 an hour for 6-hour shifts, 4 days a week, 2 times. That is $200 a paycheck that just disappeared because she's quitting, and that's before she quit. So she doesn't have another job to make that money up. And they said they planned on docking my pay significantly and not even telling me about it, while also refusing to schedule me until I start my new job. I was expected to live on no hours and way less pay. The reasoning I got from franchise owner's wife was, "We don't want to get burned." Quote, that is verbatim. So again, that's unlawful demotion. That is a civil court issue. They're lucky that they didn't do it, and they also did not schedule her after she turned in her 2 weeks notice, which doesn't make it a 2 weeks notice. That's saying, hey, I quit and I have 2 weeks that I need to work here before my new job or whatever. And what they did was they said, no, you're just not going to work. So I don't know what they were thinking. That's fucking retarded. And also, the verbatim reasoning that they got from the franchise owner's wife was, "We don't want to get burned." What business says that professionally? I own businesses. I say some fucked up shit. I don't say it professionally, though. If one of my employees was like, "Hey, why is my pay docked?" I'd be like, it would appear that your, performance has been reduced, or it looks like you're quitting, so we are reducing your pay. It looks like you don't want the manager position, so I've gone and taken you down, and stuff like that. But first of all, I would, tell them in the first place. But assuming that they didn't, the right answer is, "We don't want to get burned." That's not the right answer. Because that sounds like some fucking mafia shit. The fucking McMafia's here. They're like, "Yeah, we've been burned twice before. We ain't having that shit happen again." What do you mean? What do you mean? We don't want to get burned. What's the worst that happens? Right? Absolute worst case scenario from quitting and getting burned. Like, what would the quitter do? They would, and how does reducing their pay and cutting their hours solve this as well? So we're assuming that they are trying not to get burned, so they cut their pay and reduce their hours. What would that solve? Because, the worst things that a manager could do if they wanted to do something bad, defame the store, talk shit about it on the internet or publicly or whatever. They could come in and steal money from the safe or something like that, but that isn't on anyone's list. No one wants to come into McDonald's, especially after they're quitting. They would rather never see McDonald's again. So that can't be it. What else could it be? And regardless, they can come into the store on a day off. That doesn't stop them from coming into McDonald's. If you don't give them hours, it just stops them from working for you. It stops you from having an employee. So, the other manager here stated, "It is because people have started jobs earlier than they initially said in the past, and rather than assume good in people, they assume all the people are going to do the same." Regardless, that is the cons of owning an establishment. If, again, I have an employee who turns in a 2-week notice and they wind up not showing up a week into that because of their other job, good on them, because they have another job that they can make money on. It's not their fault. It's not even my fault, really. It's the consequence of running a business. That shit's gonna happen, and that is what you signed up for. There is no reason for that's a problem that you're trying to solve that isn't a problem that you shouldn't solve, because that is the consequences of running a business. If you're like, I don't want to lose money on my job, so I haven't bought any supplies. Everything's about pros and cons. Everything is winning or losing. Everything is a balance of good and bad. Everything is yin and yang, and it's not always that black and white, but it always can be. So maybe shut the fuck up. Except I can't leave. What are you gonna do? I'm just gonna say this verbatim, because they use colorful words and it shows that they're upset. I'm not going to elaborate on who it is, but I am going to pause between persons' texts. So this is a conversation. Except I literally cannot start before the 15th because you have to get fingerprints done. That takes 2 weeks. Exactly. Why would you ask for an extension if you were going to leave early? I'm so pissed right now. Those slimy bastards. I'd like to see them live on our wages. Poor babies wouldn't be allowed to drive Lincolns and renovate their houses every year. So sad. So that was that conversation for verbatim. All right, there's a thing on the we have recently undergone a change. Not too recently, it was long before my first listen video. We had a general manager quit, and so without a general manager, the supervisors have to come down and kind of general manage the store. I believe there's kind of an alternating custody type of thing, but it's mostly one particular person, and this particular person no one really likes, but they have collaborated and made maintenance sheets, weekly and daily maintenance for the grill and service area. Now, on one side of the wall, let's just say on the walls behind me, imagine that there's a paper by that door, and it says, dustbins must be rinsed after every use. Rinsed. So that implies water, right? That's not like scrubbing them out with a towel or like picking out anything that's at the bottom or making sure they're dumped out. That is going to the sink and rinsing out a butler, a dustbin, a dustpan, whatever you wish to call it. You have to rinse them? Rinse them out. We're scraping up wrappers and stuff, paper. Like, if this was on the floor, and now I'm holding it, I don't need to wash my hands. I really don't, but I will, because it's on the floor. But the dustbin that you roll around on the floor, and then put stuff on the floor by scrubbing the floor with a broom, and then taking that thing onto the floor and putting it into the dustbin that's on the floor, and then it's going to sit on the floor in the corner after you empty it, doesn't need washed. I'm going to say, I don't want to be hot take, not trying to be controversial, not trying to be political. Washing it doesn't make it invulnerable from the floor, especially if you're going to keep it on the floor. Now, it is like a butler, and it's a dustpan or whatever. It does have like a little ring at the top. This is just my hairbrush. But like, you could hang it from the ceiling, and then if you wash it off, it would stay clean. But if I take this, and we'll just say that my hand is the floor, and we're like, all right, and then we brush some stuff in there, and then we take it back, we dump it out, and then we wash it off. It's back on the floor. What are we going to do about it? So, that's one thing. Also, you have to wash trash cans every day. They're trash cans. It's not in frame. It's literally just out of frame. I have a trash can here. It has a soda spill on it. I've never once thought that I needed to clean it because it's not been in the way. It's not been sticking to anything. It's not like big. It's just a couple of streaks. Not been on my mind. I've never been like, holy fuck! I gotta scrape that off right now. Holy shit! I'm gonna fucking die. Everyone's poisoned. Everyone, call the police. Call the police. Hello? 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 I need help! No. I've never been like that. So, this picture is a little bad, but it says there's a thing on the other sheet which tells us what to do from 7 to 12:30. I'm going to read it off Eminem style, just so that you can like hear it. First, let me just like save my notes here. Okay. So I'm not going to read the timestamps. I'm just going to read what starts at 7 and then go all the way down to 12:30. Sweep and mop, empty grill trash, wash grill trash cans, leave only one trash and grill, take out boxes, take out trash, wipe out queuing up and wipe off grill area gaskets, stainless stacks, the exhausts, wipe down bun part, wipe down grill cart, wipe down fish cart, break down side 2, break down ketchup, break down bacon, clean off grill monitors, wash aprons, combine trays, sweep and mop grill, empty grease traps, break apart bakery stuff, check bakery pole, cut grill 1, wipe down vat doors, clean steamer, cut grill 2, wipe down platens, take all dishes, detail clean, and clean the toaster. As someone who did this list, it is not awful. There are 2 things that are particularly finicky, which is back to what I'm about to say. Washing trash cans. That's a little weird, especially every day. The other thing was washing aprons. I have never once in my time in that establishment seen aprons get washed, but they have to because I've seen aprons covered in mayonnaise and ketchup and mustard and say that don't have it the next day. So clearly they do get washed. However, I don't know if it's necessary to wash them every day, especially since we don't have enough crew to get them all washed. Normally, because we alternate crew, the person who puts theirs up there, it's on the top. That's who the next person takes. The ones on the bottom probably haven't even been used in a year. But I get it. Wash it. Why not? I mean, it's literally the one thing that you have to wash other than towels in the store. It's not awful. They want you to wipe down the exhaust stacks and the grill gaskets and break down side 2 and stuff like that. That's all fine. But on that sheet, it says, photographic proof of completion of tasks may be required. What do you want me to do about that? Do you really want me to sit there with my phone on shift? Again, we have a rule. It's in the handbook. I definitely break it, I admit. But you're not supposed to even have your phones on your person. And they're supposed to be in the crew room or in the office. So do I need to bring like a fucking Nikon camera? Fucking break out the fucking 4K fucking DSLR? Like, what do you want me to do for photographic completion of tasks? Do you want it on, like, does it have to be on the cameras? Because for that, you have to fix your fucking cameras. By the way, like, we have like 14 cameras and like half of them don't work. So we have a bunch of blind spots in our security, and that's fine. But like, is the photographic completion of tasks supposed to be from there? Because I'm not supposed to have my phone, and not everyone has a camera. And I'll do Polaroids. I'll do the fucking yarn and everything, dude. I'll fucking connect the dots and be like, so if at 8:30 p.m. on Friday, I did this task, and then 9:30 p.m. on Saturday, this happened, then clearly it wasn't me who failed to do the task, because I have the Polaroids. Fuck off. Also, what am I supposed to do? Like, I've been doing this at work because it's funny. This is like the POV McDonald's thing. I might get a phone harness, and I am definitely buying a GoPro, but it's not for work, but I will use that GoPro to record work with a fucking chest harness if I have to. I mean, it's right there. It's in print. I gotta have fucking proof. Also, why do I need to prove it? You work there. Look. If it's like, let's just say, verify that your hats are off. Look at that fucking hair. You see that? You're looking at the hair. I know you are. Looks incredible, right? You looked at it. You used your eyes. Now, if, like, the grills needed to be cleaned and photographic completion of tasks was required, maybe just look and see if the grill is clean. It's not complicated. The grill's, it's right there. It's I don't, what is it? I think it would be longer to try and reach me on my day off to be like, excuse me, Jacob, did you, clean out the grills? I was just wondering because, and like, what? Look, if I didn't clean the grills would be dirty, wouldn't they? But yeah, that's all. One of my friends tried to be a manager, and there was a little bit of drama that went down, and that's okay. Drama happens, shit happens. But one of our supervisors, there's a male and a female, so we'll just organize it like that instead of saying names. Female supervisor had some kind of issue with this person and decided that they shouldn't be a manager. They were going to make them go to a whole other location to get their training for whatever goddamn reason it was. I believe the made-up reason was that she has too many friends here and that won't make her verification be appropriate, which is wrong because your friends will respect you and actually it'll make your verification better and more simple and easier and like make more sense because that's going to be, why would you get your verification done at another store to go back to the store with the crew that you like is yours? That makes no sense, and that's why. So they stepped down from trying to be a manager, and they are looking for like 15 different jobs right now. But recently, franchise owner's wife was like, hey, do you want to be a manager? And they politely declined because, of course. And then they say, this is verbatim, uh, me when franchise owner's wife asked me to be manager, and it has a funny meme. Manager 1 says, did she though? Then they replied, yes. And then manager 1 says, haha, be like, ask your lapdog why I'm not already one. Friend says, are you going to take the offer? And then they said, manager says, for real though, you were willing to do it, and female supervisor was a grade A bitch about it, so at this point they can't be choosy. This manager states, if I find out tomorrow whether or not I'm dropping a 2-week notice at the desk too. And with him leaving, friend states, yeah, if you leave too, it's only going to be a seasoned manager and 2 rookie managers in 2 weeks, and that's not going to work. We're going to need 3 more people to step up. I'm afraid female supervisor is just going to implode. Manager states, it's going to depend on what store owner of another store, the one he's applying for, says to him. Don't say anything to any of the managers. If he can pay me enough, I'll quit. If he can pay me close to enough, I'll drop the crew and work when I'm not working at the other establishment. Manager states, I can't deal with being responsible for a restaurant that's crumbling beneath our feet anymore. Friend states, that's fair, I won't say anything. I feel really bad for seasoned manager, though. She has to deal with everything. Manager states, yeah, but if the owner and supervisors would actually help instead of just demanding things of her, it would be a lot better. They are why we lost our old general manager. And then friend states, I feel like whoever's there's just way too much pressure on whoever's the GM, especially if you don't have enough managers to spread all the responsibilities evenly. Friend Zach states, that's fucking hilarious. McDonald's suck. I'm sure every other one in the country is ran way better than ours. Our general manager ran it fine. A nearby one in our franchise was just as bad when they had no GM. Having male supervisor and female supervisor run the fucking store now sucks because they're only used to choking on Bob's cock and letting them fuck their spouses. Manager states, male supervisor has definitely improved since a year or 2 ago when he took that position. I feel like as of late he's been easier to work with than female supervisor. Female supervisor has zero sympathy for anyone, and that's not to say male supervisor has a ton, but he feels more like a human being. Comparatively, yeah. He's better than the man who told a coworker to clock out just because of his opinions. He is half the reason that our GM quit. Someone states, I don't think the store is going to last very long. Manager, seasoned manager, like years and years of experience, decade or whatever, states, so based on my experience, they take a few routes. 1, they bring in some other managers from other stores temporarily until they promote enough people to keep the store afloat. This is the most likely option. Male and female supervisor essentially fill in as 2 additional full-time managers in our location, but it is not likely because that would mean that franchise owner and wife picking up their work at other stores. So that's what likely is an increase in the days. Male and or female supervisor are in our location. Male supervisor fills in as full-time general manager temporarily while female supervisor continues their normal duties. 4, store hours are cut, probably like 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. This may happen regardless. 5, our McDonald's closes temporarily, and any employees willing to work at nearby locations will be working there until there is more staffing to be able to reopen the one in our location. I don't think this one will happen if they can avoid it because it cuts a significant chunk of revenue. It'll probably be a combination of 2 or 3 of those things. They guess 1, 3, and 4. So if he guesses 1, 3, and 4, he guesses 1, bringing in other managers temporarily until they promote enough to stay afloat. 3 is male supervisor fills in as the full-time GM, and 4 is store hours are cut. They had a manager that was going to be transferred, and they denied him. They had 2 different people with management capabilities, management experience who applied, and they denied both of them for whatever reason. That's a dumb decision. Manager states they just need to accept the fact that they're okay. They just need to accept the fact that their obsession with profit over people has gotten people to the point where they can't physically or mentally deal with the fact that they are constantly doing the work of 2 or 3 people and only getting the pay of 1. They need to schedule more people for all shifts and suck it up. Their store will be cleaner, their people happier, and their times better. Correct. I think that's it for this list of McDonald's stuff, so we'll go to my own notes. I'm going to just go through the list. Oh, wait, no. Okay, let me read these verbatim. These are screenshots of one of my manager's rants. I missed the Mick comment chain, so here's my 2 cents. After 11 years of being at that place and being as unbiased as possible, I'll try to cover everything. I asked about some monetary questions. He stated, truck orders tend to average on 6K on the low end, 10K on the high end, so an average of about 8K, 2 times a week if you wanted to do that math. However, when you see the markup of product, it really sheds some light on how little waste actually affects things. I remember one time when my breakfast completed waste was only 1 bacon, egg, and cheese griddle, and it was like 84 cents. That's how much it costs to make that. Granted, that was about in 2018 or so let's be generous and say it's 125 now. Probably way too high. We sell them for damn near $5, which means we have a 400 to 500% markup on them, but they'd flip absolute shit if we wasted 3 of them. They more than make up for food costs with sales simply due to high markups, and I understand the markup. I'm only mad because of how much shit they give everyone when things are wasted. One time, female supervisor literally told us our waste was too low at a meeting in 2017 or so. Nothing is ever good enough. Next point. No, franchise owner does not own a local location. Female and male supervisor both have pros and cons. At the start of your management training, they'll be overly friendly. Do not fall for it. Keep them at a distance. They will 100% pull some shady shit the first time you do something they don't like. And they'll get away with it because franchise owner and wife don't want to deal with the repercussions. Don't want to have to do more work. The only reason they have 2 supervisors is because it means more time they can spend at their house doing nothing. And I get it, but it comes from the fact that those 2 act as enforcers and are untouchable barring something absolutely egregious. I'll give male supervisor one thing. He does step in pretty quick if it gets busy, where female supervisor will walk by everyone struggling, get her decaf coffee, complain about something minor. The relationship-friendship thing seems to be primarily a female supervisor thing. There is nothing in the handbook about it. She seems to have it in her head that anyone who has a reporting relationship with someone at work will be given special treatment by said person if they are friends. Bob literally said that our management team is not really a team and it was our old general manager's fault because she was friends with some of her managers. The thing is, I've never seen that team be more of a team than it was under her. The second someone dares to better themselves and leave that place, they shit all over them. And it mostly comes from female supervisor and franchise owner. Female supervisor shows blatant favoritism constantly and is never reprimanded for it. Case in point, choosing one of my friends for management and refusing one of my friends in the same friend groups because she is friends with a lot more of the crew. He believes that friend 100% deserves a position, but it is totally unfair because both of the friends are capable and they chose one over the other. The new place is in no position to be turning down managers, and if we still had our general managers, we would not be turning down other managers. We are at a point where if we lose one more manager, we're fucked. At any given point, this place is 2 weeks away from a total shit show, and they still choose to act the way they do. Female supervisor has also in the past targeted other managers while being friendly with the rest. I specifically remember a man named Seth being yelled at constantly despite doing his job quite well. And while she was being very pleasant with me. Once I picked up the phone and she thought it was Seth, so she goes, "Hey, dumbass, so wait until a Friday at 4 p.m. to let me know you haven't gotten our fucking money yet." He was shorted a check and was waiting on payroll to reimburse him, and he hadn't gotten it yet. He says, "Hey, I'm not Seth," and she goes, "Oh, hi, manager. How can I talk to Seth, please?" Like, what the fuck? That's uncalled for. It's fine if she was joking, but I'm sure she wasn't. Not to mention that she gets pissed at managers for socializing at the crew, but literally married and had a kid with her subordinate, a maintenance worker. That's totally fine. She deserves a life too, but we are expected to spend a large chunk of our time at this place with these people and never develop any sort of relationship with them in their mind, which is just retarded. Now, male supervisor used to be very pleasant when I'd see him on occasion as the store manager of another location or talk to him on the phone. The second he got that supervisor position, he threw around his weight, acting like he's hot shit, bitching at everyone. My first day working with him, he got in my face and screamed at me over the planned maintenance calendar, which wasn't even my job. I also bitched about the equipment not being calibrated correctly, which he had never been taught. He never took time to assess any situation or ask any questions before acting like a total dickhead for no reason. However, he seems to have dialed it down a bit. Let's hope he keeps that going. He frustrates me deeply because he is capable of being a good leader and being helpful and understanding. He just often chooses not to be. If anyone actually reads all that, I'd be surprised. But yeah, this place is a never-ending cycle of bullshit. It gets okay from time to time, but inevitably goes downhill again. It just keeps going. They are never satisfied about everything, the three main things being waste, labor, and times. I've always said that two of those can be great at any given time, but the third will suffer, and they will hound you about it nonstop until it's great, and then one of the other categories will fall. I do not know what Bob and Sharon... I don't know what franchise owner and female franchise owner pay total and all bills average, but I'm sure it's high. But her sales average $40K a week in the slow part of the year, and they own 4 stores. All 3 of them do better than ours. They're chilling, but they act like they're businesses that they build with their own 2 hands. They are not. Next, we'll start from the top of my actual list. I have a list here. I'm not going to let me go back through that and see if there's anything I want to comment on, because he kind of elaborates on it pretty well. Yeah, you know what? I'm just going to go on to my own thing. So, at the top, it says, why are we downsizing? The reason that I asked this, and this is the reason that I started this whole rant list, was because we have nugget baskets. We have baskets that we put the nuggets in from the freezer to put into our deep fryers, so, normal procedure for deep fryers. Let's just assume that this headset box, I don't know, I've never even used it before. It's just been in my room for like 5 years. This headset box is the size of our old nugget baskets. We recently had to replace one of our nugget baskets because the welds were falling apart and there was pieces of metal getting in the fucking food and shit. It was awful. I get it. We had to replace it. No problem. But this was the original size of baskets made for the nugget bags that we have. It was size appropriate. The new one that we had was, let's just say, hypothetically the size of this. Now, this was a gift from Zach, of course, but it is smaller. It is like 1/3 shaved off the size. The baskets are similar. It was 1/3 smaller than the other ones, which means if the other basket was full, those were over full. Fortunately, the other basket had some leeway, which was good. You need some leeway when you're putting down a bunch of frozen things into a basket. But that other one leaves no room for error. Everything has to be perfectly broken apart and dropped inside, or you will have things that fall out and it just won't fit. Normally, the procedure is when you dump all the nuggets on top, there tends to be a little pile at the top. You're supposed to shake it so that all of them break apart and fall into the crevices of the basket, and you put it in there. You can't do that with a tall one because it's 1/3 the size, so it's already got the mountain, and you're already like this, and it just falls over. So why are we downsizing that? Also, our nugget bags have always gotten bigger and smaller, kind of respectively. Right now, they're still in the bigger state where it's 48 to a bag. They used to have it so that it was 20 in a bag. I appreciate the bigger ones for sure, but they do shift it for no good reason. We recently had a bag of crispy chicken go to waste because they were all pieces of crispy chicken. It was not broken apart, but they were just this big, and that's not a crispy chicken patty. You need to have it bigger than the palm of your hand. Let's see. What else are we downsizing on? I think the 10-to-1's getting smaller, but that's a personal issue. We'll call that good. We'll just say, why are we downsizing on the nuggets and the baskets? Why are we cutting hours? So this comes in out of a fit of rage when I got, as a person who closes 4 to 5 times a week, and if I was given 40 hours a week, which is full time or whatever, I would take it, but they just choose to sometimes and don't other days. I actually recently told my manager that I want to stop doing 4s now because 4 to close is a long time and I get really burnt out and it's kind of killing my mental state. So I want 8 to closes for once. But what that basically, like, what that happened was I was getting 5 to closes every day of the week, and then all of a sudden they were just randomly put to 8:30 to closes, which means I get no meal break and I come in with a 4-hour shift. Now I have to pay to go to work. It is $20 to go to work. If we say our car is a 6-cylinder Ford vehicle, they have 23 miles to the gallon, and I am 20 miles away from my establishment. My ride has to drive 15 miles to get me, 20 miles to my establishment, and then 20 miles home. And then when they come to pick me up, 20 miles to my establishment, 20 miles to my house, 15 miles to their house. So 20 miles, 20 times 2 times 2, so 40 times 2, that's 80 miles. 15 times 2 is 30, that's 110 miles. So that is 110 miles a day that I'm driving. At 23 miles to the gallon, that means that I am getting roughly, we'll just say 4.5 gallons. At $4 a gallon, which is actually underpriced, I think. We'll go with 4. I forget if it's down to 3 now. $4 a gallon at 5 gallons a day is $20. So that's $20 a trip. And if I work a 4-hour shift at $12 an hour, with the tax, so we'll just say the tax takes off 20%, we'll say I make $10 an hour. And then, so $40 is my take home. And then I have to give 20 to 25 to them. I am making a profit of $15 to $20. That's still a profit, but I could also pay $15 to $20 to have that 4 hours, technically 6 hours to something else, because it takes me half an hour to get ready for work, half an hour to get to work, half an hour to get home from work, half an hour to unwind from work. So that's another hour on the other ends of my shift that I don't get paid for. So I would pay $20 to have 6 hours of my day back. Anyone else? But yeah, my hours were getting cut, and I don't show up for those 8 o'clock shifts that often because I can't afford to pay to go to work. Why is everyone a crew trainer? Now, I understand that there's a little bit of procedure. It's not mandatory, but you're supposed to be able to go from crew to crew trainer to manager. Sometimes there are crew to manager and stuff like that, but there's like a hierarchy there. And enough of our crew is experienced enough to be training other crew, and I think that as long as everyone is a crew trainer with the respective crew trainer wage increase and their yellow hats, it's fine. But we do not have the uniformity of that. We do not all have yellow hats that signify we are trainers. We do not have tags or shirts or anything that signify that we are trainers. And for a long time, we weren't even getting our raises, which again is an unlawful demotion, which I could really start to sue people for. And if we break out the calculator again, and we do, my crew trainer raise was like 30 cents. We'll just assume it's low end, 20 cents. 20 cents, let's assume you work 6 hours. 4 days, twice a week. That is $10 for every 2 sets. Every set of 2 weeks. So, that's $10 for 2 weeks. So 56 weeks in a year, or is it 50? 52. So that's 26. So times 26. That is $249 that people are losing because they were randomly removed their crew trainer raise, me included. If you were to assume that, let's just say 10 people, which is probably a low end, 10 people were trainers when that happened, that is $2,496 that they just happen to just take home on revenue. The owners didn't have to pay us anymore. And that went on for probably a year, so that's probably good. But if we said 2 years, that would be almost 5. That would be nearly $5,000. So, that's one thing that sucks. Why? Why is everyone a crew trainer? You shouldn't have to have everyone be trained train crew. There should be crew trainers should be able to come in on certain days and train their crew, which is normally how it used to be. Or the crew that needs trained would be put on the same shift as the crew trainers when they work normally as well. But now that everyone's a trainer, they can just schedule anyone willy-nilly, and there's normally a trainer present, which is technically useful, but it doesn't help when there's not a hierarchy anymore. If someone 2 years newer to the job and miles less experienced than me is also a crew trainer, I have no authority over them. Veterancy doesn't hold up. Why can't we have a general manager? Now, this is sort of answered. One of our most seasoned managers does not want to be a general manager. The next one below them isn't exactly experienced enough to take on that mantle just yet. They are very susceptible to stress, and they projected that stress as a normal assistant manager onto their crew more than well enough, but now they're trying to be a general manager, and they're trying to prove themselves that they can be a general manager and run the store on their own, and they are projecting that stress onto us tenfold, and it is annoying as fuck. No one likes it. Not a single person is okay with the way that person is acting, and I want to make sure that everyone knows that. Their new behavior is totally bootlicking, and it is demanding us to be exactly right to the books, to the protocol, to the exact way that everything needs to be ran, or we will die. The entire store goes up in flames. No one makes any money. Fucking their family's held hostage. Fucking they will die if I accidentally put on 2 gloves. Why can't we hire more people? Now, of course, this is a subjective question. This is kind of out of a fit of rage why I would ask that question, and even the last one, because it is a reasonable, there's a logical explanation. No one wants to work there. Everyone who has worked there has quit. So there's currently a cycle where no one's being told to work at McDonald's. But also, we turned down a handful of people, and we can't afford them. And then this is an adjacent question: why do people not want to apply? And like I said, I think that's because we have a generation of people who got fucked over at McDonald's, and their kids are better off working at a gas station. Profit margins. So I will very shortly sum up the math because I don't remember it in exact. Our store, bottom of the rung, $2.3 million gross income. Next store above us, $2.5 million gross income. Next store above that, $2.7 million gross income. Next store above that, $3 million gross income. So roughly $11 million of gross income between 4 stores. As my manager stated, it is going to be about $8K on average per week for truck orders. So if we do the math, $8K times 52... Fuck off. 8K times 52. That is $416,000 a year that's spent on ordering food and supplies for the establishment. If we assume, and this is a very high estimate, $100,000 a year to run the utilities bills, that's going to be $516,000. If we assume that McDonald's takes I think the number was 12% revenue at $2.3 million, and we'll go back to this, by the way, just so you know. We're talking about just my store and my $2.3 million gross income. If we take the $2.3 million and we take just 10% of it because it's easier, that's $120,000. $123,000. That is $639,000. So we have the tax taken out. We have the order taken out for staff, for truck and stuff. So that means $639,000, $2.3 million minus $639,000. That is $1,661 to pay our crew. We have, let's just say, 10 crew on leave, 10 crew that have quit since I've done the math last. We'll say we have 40 crew, just to round up. I would think more like 35 or 38 that are active. Now, not everyone is making $12 an hour. Not everyone is making $15 an hour. Not everyone is making $18 an hour, but some of the managers are making the higher end and some of the crew are making the lower end. Let's go right in the middle for $13 an hour. 14. Let's do $14 an hour. So, again, we have $1.661 million. $14 an hour. Let's just assume that you work a 6-hour shift 4 days a week. And there is, 40 people that are doing that. That is $13,000 a day. No, a week. So we times that by 52. That is $698,880. So $698. 166,100. There we go. Minus 698,998. I think it was $962,000 and $962,002. Let's just assume that the payroll company takes a little chunk out of that money that they have to organize. So let's just say they take 10 grand out. We'll do 100 grand. They take 100 grand out. $862,000 and $2 and $2 and $2. 862,002. However the fuck you pronounce that. So we have $862,002. Where does it go? Is that all profit? Is there something I'm not accounting for? Because that's truck order, that's utilities, that's staff. What else? What's the rest of this? Where does this go? You can't buy me a fucking mop bucket. We had to have people illicitly buy a mop bucket to clean our store. We had to have people who will buy hoses for our pressure washer and our sprayers and stuff like that. We have to have people who buy a rubbing alcohol for us, for our medical supplies or for cleaning or whatever we may need it for. Where does this money go? And if we assume that other stores are slightly better off on the payroll, on the employee side, which means that they're worse off on the profit side because of their employees being, taking in more money. Let's just assume that they are 200 grand shorter and they're at 600 grand. If 4 stores are bringing in 600 grand and we just even remove the 200 grand there, that is 6, 12, 18, 24, $2.4 million of profit. Profit. But you can't afford to buy anything. You can't buy another store, can't buy more employees, can't buy fucking mop buckets, can't buy us enough fucking stock. We have to run out of shit. Why? Where's it going? Are you buying a fucking Lincoln Navigator instead? Because I guarantee you fucking are. The cycle, aka the rule of 2, and that's morale times and waste. And like a clean store, actually. I believe I've described the cycle before. If you have good morale and good times, you're going to have waste. If you have good times and good waste, you're going to have low morale. If you're going to have good morale and good waste, you're going to have low times or bad times. There's no way to get it all. Literally, there's just no way. You could have a multi-million, every single person in that establishment could have millions of dollars, and waste could mean absolutely nothing, and you would still lack something. And that's not even like a store issue, it's just how it works. There's a pro and cons to everything. However, even in a perfect world where we could maintain all 3 of those things, our supervisors and franchise owners would hate us. Our franchise owners and supervisors would think that we are the scum of the earth. Our franchise owners and supervisors would say that we aren't doing good enough. And that's because despite how much profit we can bring in, that means that we can bring in more profit. There is someone who is not at their peak potential of money making in their game of chess, and we need to be making more money for them. If I make them $100,000 a year, but one day I perform a 12 grand day versus my 10 grand days normally, that means that I should be doing 12 grand days every fucking day of the year, or I suck. And that's exactly how it feels, and that's exactly how people see it. That's how everyone feels. And even in the state of our crew, if if I am good at doing service and grill, and I'm good at cleaning, and I'm good at maintenance, and I'm good at the office, and I'm good at managing, and I'm good at catching drawers, and I'm good at fucking customer service, they want me to do all of that because I've proven that I've raised that expectation. That bar is so high that I cannot compete with it because the bar is going up in individual chunks instead of what all I can handle at once. So now that I know that I can run the whole store, they'll let me run the whole store at my pay rate because I can, because I am capable, because there's no choice. I would get reprimanded if I don't go up front and help service because I know how to help service. Even though I am sat and grill, that is my position, that is the position I was hired for, that is what I wanted, that is where I'm at on the floor schedule. If I don't go up front and help them up front, I am the scum of the earth. I am letting my team down. I am a failure. Why is that exactly? Why am I not allowed to have my own position as my own person that I was scheduled for, and that's enough? Why isn't that enough? That's because we don't have enough crew. We do not have a person who is good enough in service that I don't have to come up and help. We do not have a person who's good enough in grill for me to come out of service. We don't have a person who's good enough at dishes for me to come out of grill. We don't have a person who's good enough at the registers for me to come out of grill. We do have people, but we aren't allowed to schedule them because we're only allowed fucking 25 seconds of labor, or there's too much labor because there's too many people on shift taking up all of our money. But with $800,000 of fucking profit, maybe we could afford to have more people in our store so that we could actually be able to run the place and keep it clean. The next thing I have on here is a bunch of zeros. Zero transparency, zero humanity, zero respect, zero assistance, zero compensation. Zero transparency. That comes from the fact that I have to guess at their profit margins. I have to guess why they are mad at us. They don't tell us why they're mad at us. They don't tell us why we're incompetent. They don't tell us why we're worthless to them. They just say, you suck, you need to do better, this is bad, do better, this needs to be done better, you need to do that better, this is better. Why does it need to be done better? Is the health inspector coming? Do we need to keep it extra clean for them? Is profits really that low? Are you guys really struggling that bad? Because I don't believe it. No one believes you if you want to say that you're struggling that bad. I need some fucking receipts. I need proof. I need a transaction history. I don't care. I'm not a businessman. I'm not a fucking associate. I'm not like a corporate person, but it's the transparency that helps me relate. It helps me sympathize and empathize and understand you. Because if you tell me that your store is going in debt and I shouldn't even be getting paid as much, that makes me empathetic. I feel like I should be working harder and being able to generate you more money so that I can earn the pay that I'm supposed to, so that you cannot be so stressed out. But instead, you're just stressed out and you project that on everyone else and you make it someone else's problem. You have to be friendly and you have to be relatable. My other manager that I love so much is relatable to me. He admits stuff to me. Whenever we have to clean stuff, he's like, oh, it's because we have an inspection. If he tells me to work harder, he's like, oh, it's because times are low and I'm getting my neck breathed down. I'm like, all right, I get it. I'll do it. But manager, the upper echelon, they're all just like, you fuck off. You suck. You're gay. You're ugly. And that's supposed to be our problem just because we work there. And technically they are. There's no obligation of transparency in any Better Business Bureau or any fucking trade laws or anything. But if you want your employees to work better, you have to start fucking thinking about it. Zero humanity. This was mentioned before about our supervisors. They are cold, dead inside. They don't make actual talk with you. They may know a certain detail about you that they'll ask about in little small talk. Like, for example, if you have a kid, they'll come up and be like, oh, how's the kid? You know, oh, yeah, those little whippersnappers. Anyway, you fucking suck! Do better! And you're just like, okay. And they don't, like, you're like, oh, I'm financially in debt, and I'm sick, and I don't have any food, and, like, I'm sorry I'm not working too great, but I haven't eaten in 3 days. And they're like, damn. Go ahead and go home. Next one, zero respect. This is different than having humanity. This is about, I'm working hard, maybe it's not my fault. Again, if I'm running your entire store for you and there's 6 other people on shift, whether they're good or bad, this is not dissing any of my coworkers, why is it always my fault? Why can't it be someone else's fault? There's no respect for our, like, and in our management is doing the absolute best that they can with 4 fucking managers that run a store 7 days a week, 5 a.m. to 11 at night. There is 4 people that have to run the store without getting overtime because overtime is a sin punishable only by death, and so you can't get overtime, but you have to have these 4 people running the store, and you have to have 2 at a time. There's no way for it to fucking work, but they're trying to make it work, and that's all their fault, and they don't respect the fact that they are working hard, and there is not much more that they can do. No respect. No assistance. This is stated also when I said female supervisor sits and stares and, like, complains. That fucking goddamn cave woman actually just stands there and looks like this. Sits there, fucking stares. Stares. Got a goddamn fucking staring problem. Does a main character pause whenever they say anything, whenever they register information? I don't know what it is. It's like processing a fucking answer on a 1998 fucking computer. Fucking Windows 96. Like, they sit there. If they're like, yeah, your waist is high, and you're like, yeah, I'm sorry, we had a really big rush. We took 3 buses. We had a couple of trays of 10-to-1 that were in there because, you know, it was the end of the rush, and we were just keeping it stocked, and they ran out of time, and then they'll pause. Yeah, okay. And for that entire pause, I mean, I don't care what it is, you know, some sigmas or whatever, they're reading if you're lying, or they're trying to see what kind of response you'll get out of the silence, or the, you know, people who like to think and process their information and make sure that what they say is correct or whatever flowery fucking shit. No, that's just fucking brain not computing. You're fucking way too old to be in your position. You're a fucking awful human being. So, yeah, no assistance from them. Zero compensation. I am the electrician, technician, fucking interior designer, contractor, fucking floor layer, cocksucker of the store, and I don't get paid like any of those. That's for sure. If I work the side of the street, it's $50 a service, and I ain't got no $50 from work for my services. I ain't got no $50 an hour for my labor rate for being an electrician. I ain't got no $50 an hour for my labor rate for being a technician. I ain't got no $50 an hour for my labor rate for being a fucking interior designer. No compensation. Their form of compensation is a free meal. If you aren't a maintenance worker but you do maintenance, you get a free meal. Sometimes, when they care to remember. If you are a maintenance worker and you're doing maintenance full time, your lunch breaks are always free. How kind. That means that I'm getting $4 off of my fucking day. That's not 50. That's not 50. That's still not 50. You can't tell me it's 50. If I work 8 hours at $10 an hour and I get a $10 meal, let's just say it's a $10 meal that I got for free, even though technically they would discount it to 4, and if you want to talk about like raw money paid in, that's a 400% markup, so that's probably 10 cents for my fucking order or whatever. That means that actually it'd be $1. But that means that, let's just say 8 hours, $80, $90. I'm making $90 for an 8-hour shift when I should be making, let's see, 8 hours times 50, 8 times 5 is 40. I should be making $400 a day to work 8 hours as a technician at my labor rate of $40, for example, or 50, I mean. But I definitely don't. And then that goes right in line with inability to hire specialists. I'm not a licensed technician. I'm not a licensed electrician. I'm not a licensed contractor. I'm not a licensed interior designer. I didn't go to no fucking school. I didn't go to no law school. I didn't know to go to no trade school for fucking HVAC or anything like that. But we are all expected, not just me, to be able to repair and maintenance the things in the store. And while some of that may be correct, like if something breaks, we should be able to understand how to cope with it or whatever. We should not be the ones obligated to get into the ceiling and fucking rewire the transformer or get onto the fucking ceiling and change out the vents. Shit like that. That is a specialist job. You're supposed to pay someone fucking $40 an hour to do that. We don't. We don't. Maybe, like, I would say I've seen 2 professionals in a year. I've seen a grill guy, a vat guy, and an electrician. 3. Sorry. And they aren't there for too long. Maybe 2 hours a pop. If that. Most of the time 1, sometimes half. That's not much that you're paying that guy. We recently we used to only have 3 trays of 10-to-1 that carry 8 each, and you can technically shove up to like fucking 32 in there. We had 3 trays. We've recently gone up to 4. This inadvertently, because we don't normally have 4, has improved waste. The reason that I say is improved waste is because the minimum that you are technically supposed to be putting in there, the low run, is 4. There isn't a low run of 2, although we did just make that rule out of our ass. We did just invent that. So, if you have 3 trays at 4 each, you have 12 10-to-1, and when they time out, they're on waste. If you have 4 trays of 4, that's 16 10-to-1, that's 4 more 10-to-1 on waste, and already, if you get more than 2 10-to-1 on waste, you're fucking sin of the earth, you're a fucking scumbag piece of shit, and you should die. So imagine 4 more on top of the 12 that's already fucking exuberant. You're fucking dead. You're dead. Like, literally just fucking pink sock yourself. Literally gut your organs. But yeah, no. We gotta have that extra dish. Speaking of extra dishes, you know who doesn't need extra dishes? The dish guy who starts 2 hours early and gets done by midnight. Like, they start at 8 and end in 4 hours. It takes 4 hours to do all those fucking dishes that we have, and we need to make more. We need to have more stuff in the cabinet. We have the more trays. No, we don't. Put more in a tray. We have 4 grills capable of making 8 10 to 1 each, and each tray is capable of holding 8 times 4, 24. No, 8 times 4 is 32. Capable of holding 32 10 to 1 to a tray. If you can't use all 4 grills to use all 3 trays to get 8 10 to 1 a grill onto one tray, 32, 64, 96. Yeah, 96. That is 96 10 to 1 in the cabinet with 4 trays. 64 should even be enough. So maybe that's not the fault of having more fucking trays. Customers not paying at the first window. I understand. Sometimes at certain McDonald's establishments, I have been told to go to the second window instead of the first one. Normally it's out of order. Normally it's getting repaired. Normally it's easier for their low-staffed crew or whatever the fucking reason is. But I have been told to go to the second window. I've also used to get drinks at the first window. That used to happen, I swear. But, at my establishment, none of, like, I would say 5 customers a night skip the first window. Why? Maybe you forget. Like, maybe sometimes you pulled too far forward. Maybe there's someone behind you so you can't, like, back up, so you just have to go to the second window. Shit happens. But some people just tear right on by, just fucking, and then they stop at the second one and they're like, where's my food? And we're like, you haven't paid! And then they're like, oh. I mean, you're like 20 years old. I don't care how much meth you're hopped up on. You shouldn't have fucking dementia. Customers are saying food is cold. This mainly happens in our lobby. In the lobby, we are currently having an HVAC issue where we do not have heating in the lobby. There is signs on the doors, walls, windows, and the little privacy dividers at the fucking register that people read. And it says, we are getting an HVAC system ordered. It's coming soon. Until then, all orders are takeout. If you choose to sit in the lobby, that is your own decision. People will sit in the lobby, get their food, wait 25 minutes texting their fucking boyfriend, and then come up and be like, my food's cold! My food's cold! Why is it cold? Because you're a fucking retard, Cassandra! Customers being rude. I've been rude to people before. I've been rude to customers. I've been rude to service workers as a customer. I have said mean things about McDonald's while I'm sitting in the drive-thru waiting for my food. However, it's not appropriate. And I have not said anything actually like disgustingly rude to any of my service workers or any crew at any McDonald's. I've said some things that could be considered passive-aggressive, like if I go up to a store in Maine and they can't put spicy pepper sauce in a sandwich for whatever fucking reason, I've told them, I'm like, wow, this store is not as great as mine, Lamau. But I've never once been like, yeah, you guys need to do better, or like, you're a dumb little faggot, or something like that. Like, we have had women called sluts, gay, like, openly flamboyant gay people, like, people who give off gay vibes get called faggots. We get the N-word on, our, people of color that we work with, and just the whole 9 yards. And I'm like, do you guys really need to be that rude? Like, I have stood up front while there's altercations, just sitting like this with my arms closed, waiting until it is resolved, because if someone were to hit one of my crew, I think I might break both their legs and piss in their mouth or something. I don't know. I'll fucking freak out. I have a lot of pent-up anger and frustration, and this doesn't solve all of it, especially if someone hits my friends, because I'll have a whole new level of frustration. You'll have not seen a body contorted in that way until I'm done with that man. That man will be a pretzel. I will bake him at 375 for 5 minutes. Customers not going to any of the other food joints in the area. First of all, there are a lot of people who sit down in our lobby with our food and sit for hours and hours and hours. May I interest you in any of the restaurants in the area? There are other people who would love your business who are perfectly suited to sit you down and treat you with waiters and everything. And we do not charge much. It's not ghastly expensive to go in, get a water, and a fucking steak. It's $12. You come in here, you pay $12 for a double quarter pounder with smoky fucking sauce on it. But you can't go over and get a nice fucking steak and a water? Shut the fuck up. You want fast food? Is that why you're here? You gotta fucking get in, get out, go to fucking Subway. It's not perfectly fast, but it's just about as fast as we are, especially when we're understaffed, we're not clean, and we have high waste, so everything's cooked to order. In the 7 minutes that it takes us to get your fucking fresh goddamn crispy out, you could have had your fucking sub. Don't like subs? My brother in Christ, you made the fucking sandwich. The Great Cataclysm. We have a great chain of people leaving. And when I say a great chain of people leaving, I mean there are managers who are leaving with managers and crew who are leaving when managers leave. And when crew leaves, there's crew leaving and shit like that. Everyone is a friend. And everyone is here because of their friends. And when enough friends leave, they're not going to stay there either. And then they're going to have friends who are going to leave because they didn't stay there. And then they're going to have friends who leave that aren't going to stay there. And all you're going to have is like two motherfuckers who just can't fucking leave, who are going to be stuck there working there at another establishment. Working hard only to be criticized is a talking point that I'm not going to elaborate on because I already have. Learning more makes the job worse. I'm going to elaborate on this a little bit. I've explained it pretty much, but basically, if you know grill, you have one job. You know grill and table, you have two jobs. You know grill, table, and fried products, you have three jobs. You know grill, table, fried products, and presentation, drink making, that's four jobs. You know how to make smoothies, that's five jobs. You know how to make shakes, that's six jobs. You know how to take money, that's 7 and technically 8 jobs. You know how to mop the floors, that's 9 jobs. The more that you know, the more jobs you are obligated to do. Expectations get too high too fast. That is again how learning all of these jobs and tasks makes you more obligated to do more work. It gets way out of hand too fast. It's nearly impossible to be fired. I have been told by my past GM that if I just walked out on a shift, fucking just walked right out, had 4 hours left on my shift, however amount of time, I just walked out and came back for my next shift, I'd get a slap on the wrist. I've openly admitted to like fist fighting certain people or beating up customers or whatever, and well, not like admitted to wanting to do that or that I have done that, but like I've been like, what if I just like fought Zach right now? They'd be like, that's okay. The only way to get fired is if I like committed fucking assault like on a coworker or something, which comes into the next thing. We have multiple like sexual assault issues in just the last few years. The first one we had was with my friends. There was someone who was like a classmate who worked with us, and he would accidentally just keep slapping the asses of girls. It would just oops, oops, oops. I admit, I have gone through a crowded area, and I have definitely touched some booty, male or female, and the first thing I do is I apologize, and then I keep going, because the worst thing you can do is make a big deal of it. But I have not done that intentionally. I have not done it repetitively. I am like months between each happening, and you know, I'm a good upstanding person who doesn't have that kind of history either. The next time it happened, there was a man who had just gotten out of jail who joined our job, and that's fine. I don't judge people who have been convicted of crimes. I don't judge what crimes they're convicted for. If you have a fucking baby rapist and they're coming out and they're working here, maybe like I'm a little like concerned that you're a little fucked up, but like it's not my job to be justice. And I might not be your friend. I might not like what you've done in the past, but that doesn't make you a bad person inherently, in the sense that like you aren't allowed to live a life anymore or whatever. It's, you know, that's the justice system. But whatever that man was in for, which I think was something to do with abuse or something like that, he comes out and he works with us, and then he was uncannily happy. He uncharacteristically smiled. He was just weird. He was far too good, and that means it was fake. That's all a facade. He was the guy who was like, you say anything even remotely like intended to be funny or satirical, and he's like, And he's always got this smile on him. He's like, "Oh, how's it going today? Oh, it's fun to be here. I'm happy to have you guys here, and I just really appreciate it. And you guys are wonderful, and yada yada." And then like one of our crew just like, yeah, one of the customers was being creepy and talking about my tits, and then he's like, "Well, I mean, they're not wrong." And they're like, "I'm 17." He's like, "Oop," but like, don't say that about your crew members. I don't care how friendly you are. You aren't that friendly, especially with someone half your age. Um, he was texting like one of my managers and being like awfully nice, and I don't know if something flirtatious happened or anything between him or what he might have said, but what I saw of their messages was creepy enough because he was always like, "You look beautiful today," and etc. And it's like, fuck off. That's gross. Don't be that way. I happily call women my age bracket beautiful. I happily do that, but I also like know them for a very long time, and I'm like personally trustworthy with them. So that's a totally different ball game than just hopping at someone's DMs and being like, "You're beautiful." Doesn't even matter if it's true or not, or genuine or not. It's just unprofessional. It's impolite. It's inappropriate, disrespectful even. I think we had another guy. I forget what happened exactly, but I think it was a misunderstanding. I don't remember. Not my job. The McMafia is real. So, our franchise owner didn't used to be our franchise owner. His father used to be the franchise owner before he inherited it at his father's passing. That when he was just working under his father, our franchise owner once had someone who stole money from our safe. He went to that guy's house with a bat, broke his fucking legs, and took his money back for his father. That's the most mafia shit I've ever heard in my life. The McMafia is real. End of story. There's no such thing as paid leave, not even for managers. You can go on leave. You can have a leave of absence. You can have multiple requested days off. You can quit. But at no point will you be paid for any of that. Even when we had COVID, there was no supported plans for paid leave. So if you got COVID and you were out for 2 weeks, that's just an entire paycheck. You couldn't make any money, which means odds are you couldn't afford the medical supplies that you needed to survive that COVID fucking issue. You didn't have the food to fucking survive that week. You didn't have the water to the drinks, the hydration to survive that week. You couldn't pay your bills, etc. There's way too many reasons for you to need paid leave, and they don't support it. And that leads into the thing I said, no COVID assistance. Friends or relationships are not allowed, except everyone is friends and half of them are in some kind of relationship. So clearly they don't care, except one person cares, and it's enough to cause a whole fucking issue. We have to sweep and mop every 2 hours. Now, that's not perfectly unreasonable, especially if we had crew, but the problem is that it's just far too frequent that it annoys crew right now, and crew that is annoyed and has low morale is a crew that is going to have slow times and high waste. So maybe just sacrifice 2 hours and do 4 or something so that we can have higher morale and give you a better store in general. Cycle of neglect on ugly spots. Mop sink, and there's a drain by the hand washing sink. These two things get mold on them. Black mold, fucking green mold, fucking yellow mold. It doesn't matter. They're moldy, they're gross, they're disgusting. We clean them maybe once every 3 months, and literally like a couple of days after cleaning them, they're back to being gross again. It's nearly not worth cleaning them. Inability to remove certain items on truck. So our truck order mandatorily adds Happy Meal boxes and certain cups, and I don't know if it's because they're perfectly cheap or if they're just because no McDonald's could ever not go through all of their cups like that. But we currently have like half of our dry storage area is just cups and boxes that are out of date. So clearly we didn't run out of it before the next truck order, and there's nothing we could do to remove it. Then, inability to make space in storage areas. This is the same thing. We are not allowed to throw away those extra Happy Meal boxes or cups, so we do not have room in storage, and things have to be stacked to the ceiling, things have to be stacked incorrectly, things have to be stacked in dangerous ways, and it is perfectly unsafe, and I'm sure if there was some kind of OSHA supervisor that would go there, they would have a fucking heart attack. At the bottom here, I have McDonald's is sexist. And this is kind of a joke, but also it's a little suspicious. And it has been stated, because I'm a person of logic and reason, I do think, like, things like the wage gap or whatever isn't exactly real or whatever. But, like, here's the thing, right? McDonald's, there a lot of the McDonald's that I have been to, this one, the next one, the nearby ones, the ones in fucking Maine, they have most of their women in service. I don't care if the women have chose to not be in grill, but there is a weird correlation between the women being up front, presentable, having to look pretty, having the public face, having, they are the ones who have to be up front all the time, because at the end of the day, a lot of them are cross-trained in grill, a lot of them have enough grill training to be in grill, but we don't have them in grill, either because they're better up front or whatever. But I have seen, the only guys that I have seen that are in service are managers and occasionally just crew. We have a couple of crew people that are really good in service. We have a guy, we'll just call him Samuel and fucking Albert. Let's just say their names. Let's just pretend those are their names. Those two guys, they're great. Wonderful people. I don't think that they're like too effeminate, or like that's why they're up there is because they look like a woman or something. It's not like that. They're men and they do a good job. And when I'm in service, I don't think that I look like a woman. I think that I'm just good at my job. I think that I was just required to be up there. But also, men a lot of the times are told to be in the grill. And I took 3 years to get cross-trained for whatever reason. Shit kept getting put off, and I don't care about that. I'm sure that wasn't no fucking sexist reason, like the manager hated men or something. But the fact of the matter is that whenever men ask, we're like, you're not presentable enough, we think you'll be too weird. And we're like, we have a public face. The same face you interviewed us with, that we could just talk to customers. All we have to do is say, oh, I'm sorry if your order's wrong, or oh, here's your food, ma'am, or have a nice night, or welcome to McDonald's. It doesn't have to be, oh, mate, you fucking want caught tonight, mate. We don't have to do that. That's not prevalent to the situation. But we still, like, fucking once in a blue moon work in service, and then the rest of the time we're gay. I don't know what to do about it. I don't know why that has to be such a problem, but it is. So, whatever. I'm an hour and 30 minutes into this. I've gone through my rant list. I actually have another one. Hold on. We aren't done yet. Get fucked. Friend Zach. I have some issues with the company. Wait, hold on. I need to do something. I need to get a drink. I already got my drink. So, my issues with the company. Significant raise in expectations without significant raise in pay. It just feels like we're supposed to do a bunch of extra work out of the goodness of our hearts, and that's not how a fucking job works. Paid super late on occasions. Especially like this weekend, where we aren't getting our money for 6 days. People have bills and families to take care of, and this is how you treat them? Fuck off. What he is talking about is the fact that we get paid the 1st and 15th of every month, but we don't get paid. That's when payroll comes in. It then takes 3 days to process normally, but weekends don't count because the payroll office is closed on weekends. They aren't business days or whatever. That's fine, I guess. But if there's a federal holiday in the middle of that, that also means that they get skipped. So, for example, let's just assume, let's use the real world example, the one that just happened. We got paid 15th. Let me pull up the little calendar here. We got paid the 15th. 16th is a Thursday. 17th is a Friday. We should have been paid the 18th, but that's a Saturday. So, you have to skip Saturday and Sunday, which is the 18th and 19th. So it should be Monday, right? No, because Monday was President's Day, which is considered a federal holiday. So nothing gets delivered on Monday. Nothing gets fucking around on Monday. For whatever reason, George Washington was born that day, so all of the fucking universe has to stop on that day. And if you want just a random political opinion, I think the President's Day should fall on our current president's birthday, just so that we could have more relation and transparency with our current president, and we could learn more birthdays more easily. But okay, so that means that took 15 to 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. 6 whole days late from the 15th, which is when payroll technically comes in. the issue with this is people have bills to pay and stuff. My shut-off notice for my internet is the 20th. They do not abide by that federal holiday. And I had to ask for money, financial assistance, to get that fucking bill paid because I didn't get my money on time. Because their superficial fucking holiday for a dead president that died 300 fucking years ago. This has happened before, though. We get paid, we're supposed to get paid on like the 3rd, and then we'll get a weekend and a holiday, and I'll be behind on my fucking internet bill, or my electric, or my car insurance, or my YouTube Premium won't be available for a bit, and that's the worst of it, because that's the most realized thing, because I listen to music everywhere. I listen to music at home, at work, and everything, and when I can't listen to music because I'm not in service, or I don't have internet, or I have ads when I do have it. It's a totally different experience. And even though it's $15, you know that you don't even have that $15. It's like a reminder that you're too poor to have a luxury that you once had. And that's more torture than some of these other ways that you can have bills lapse. Upper management has no respect for their employees. We get treated like shit and expected to still love being here. Yep. The people who work hard are treated the same way as everyone who put in no effort. This is fucked up, especially consider the fact that raises are treated to huge things and rewarded sparingly. Everyone acts like this job is some royal test of personal strength, when in reality you're just being exploited for your labor and rewarded with nickels and dimes for your effort. Correct. So we'll go up. People who work hard are treated the same as the people who put in no effort. This is kind of like the thing where I said if you get more jobs, you're just fucking yourself over, because the person who only knows grill gets just as much love as the guy who knows grill service, maintenance, fucking table, fucking fried products, sucking dick, all electrician, technician, all that shit. Same amount of love as that one person who just sits in front of the grill and goes like this. God, I wish I could have a life as simple as yours. Oh, to be in the days fucking 3 years ago. And then raises are treated as huge rewards and they are given out sparingly. Yeah. I am a good man. I also have businesses that aren't as high profile. I do not have multiple stores. I do not have hundreds of employees, but I would generously give out raises. If I feel like I can fit in, my profit, I should give them some profit. They are helping me make profit. That is only fair. That is realistic. Everyone acts like this job is some royal test of personal strength. Yeah, like some people are just like, yeah, I'm strong enough for this, or like, oh, this is, this isn't that bad, or like, if you can't put up with this, oh, you're done for, or whatever. Like, fuck off. That job is probably the worst. The reason it's the number one first job and not the number one last job is because no one fucking stays. But yeah, you force us to. You want us to. You fucking pin us down and fucking rape us. Like, it doesn't make any sense. No, okay. I was wanting to double check. I was making sure that I didn't have anything more said in that video. Or in a chat with someone where I tend to rant and I don't. So that's it. Is there anything else that I feel like wrapping up or talking about? I mean, I'll let you know what I'm gonna be up to. I'm about to go do laundry while this video uploads, and I have to. Well, I don't have to, but I'm going to play some Resident Evil and Assassin's Creed, and I'm gonna hang out with my friends. I work tomorrow, and I'm gonna get my perma test done tomorrow. So that's been me. I love you guys, and peace out. Thanks.